Okay, so imagine this. You wake up one morning and the headlines are screaming that the FBI has Tupac tapes. Receipts so damning they could take down not just Diddy, but even Jay-Z. Sounds like a Netflix thriller, right? Well, buckle up, because this isn't just some fan conspiracy cooked up in a dark Reddit corner. This is shaping up to be the biggest plot twist hip-hop has ever seen. And if the whispers are even halfway true, then the untouchables, the billionaires, the moguls, the so-called kings of the culture, are about to fall harder than anyone ever expected. For nearly 3 decades, the world believed Tupac Shakur's story ended in a Vegas hospital. 4 bullets, 6 days on life support, and then gone. That's the official version. But from the very beginning, things just didn't add up. The coroner's report had glaring inconsistencies. Witnesses kept disappearing, and the cremator? He literally retired the very next day after supposedly handling Tupac's body, never to be heard from again. Creepy, right? And if that wasn't enough, there were the blurry sightings. People swore they saw him in Cuba, Jamaica, even South Africa. Most fans dismissed it as desperate hope, but when too many witnesses start saying the same thing, decades apart, it stops sounding like coincidence. Add to that the fact that some insiders claimed Tupac's autopsy photo looked staged, and suddenly the official story starts feeling more like a cover-up.
I said Tupac is coming back this year and stuff. Well, I've been back.
Pac wasn't just a rapper, he was a strategist. He studied Makaveli, the Italian philosopher who literally wrote about faking your death to outsmart your enemies. And then Pac adopts the persona Makaveli. Like, hello? He was dropping hints in plain sight. The album covers, the lyrics, the cryptic interviews. It's almost as if he was daring us to put the pieces together. Even Suge Knight, who was in the car that night, has fueled suspicions. From prison, he's hinted multiple times that Tupac might not actually be gone. He once said, "Tupac's not dead. He's somewhere smiling." Now, Suge isn't exactly the most trustworthy source, but when the man who was literally right there at the scene is planting seeds of doubt, you can't ignore it. And now, decades later, just as Diddy's empire crumbles under accusations of trafficking and racketeering, and Jay-Z's name starts popping up in lawsuits like unwanted confetti, boom, FBI whispers surface that Tupac didn't just survive, he outplayed everyone. According to leaks, he's been in hiding this whole time, gathering evidence. Tapes, phone records, money trails, evidence that doesn't just suggest Diddy and Jay-Z were witnesses to the Vegas shooting, it suggests they were the architects. Think about that. The 2 most powerful men in hip-hop, one sitting in a cell right now denied bail, the other scrambling in court to protect his billion-dollar empire, both allegedly tied to the erasure of the biggest voice in rap history. If that's not chilling, I don't know what is. And let's be real, the timing is suspicious. Right as Diddy is getting dragged through the courts with comparisons to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jay-Z is suddenly sweating legal documents with his name buried in them, rumors surface that the FBI has been matching old evidence from the 90s with brand new intel, some of it allegedly coming straight from Tupac's circle. Like, did Pac just spend 30 years setting the stage for the most savage revenge drop of all time? Because here's the thing, if Tupac really did survive, then every power move since 1996, every Rock Nation brunch, every billion-dollar brand, every flashy Diddy yacht party suddenly looks tainted, built not on hustle and brilliance, but on betrayal and blood. And the idea that Pac has the receipts to burn it all down, that's not just a comeback, that's a reckoning. And trust me, people in the industry can feel it. Sources say assistants have quit overnight. Insiders are erasing their tracks, and lawyers are working overtime to keep their clients from getting dragged into the mess. The vibe has shifted from celebration to paranoia, and when that happens in hip-hop, it usually means something big is coming.
A new bombshell in the investigation into who killed Tupac here in Vegas in 1996. The only man currently facing murder charges in the case, Wayne Keefe Davis, claims that Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, paid for a hit on Tupac. According to court documents, Davis made these claims in separate interviews, including one with Metro Police. Diddy paid Eric Von Martin $1 million for the killing.
Here's where things get wild. The FBI isn't just snooping around old files for nostalgia. They're actively reopening the case with new technology. Sources say agents are pulling out surveillance tapes from the 90s, retesting fingerprints, and even running voice analysis on phone calls that were once considered unusable. And guess whose names are showing up way too often? Diddy and Jay-Z. Insiders claim that sealed evidence from the Vegas case, stuff everyone thought had been destroyed, was matched with brand new intel. Some of that intel allegedly came from Tupac's own circle, maybe even from Pac himself if you believe the whispers. Think about it. Decades of receipts, carefully tucked away, now resurfacing just as two of the most powerful moguls in hip-hop are at their weakest. The timing couldn't be more brutal. And here's the kicker. The Bureau isn't chasing shadows. They're following money trails, wire transfers, offshore accounts, sealed affidavits that hint Jay-Z's associates might have funded names linked to the Vegas shooting. If even part of that gets confirmed in court, we're not talking about hip-hop beef anymore. We're talking about conspiracy to murder. And while the feds dig deeper, Diddy's world is collapsing in real time. As of September 2025, his trial is the most watched spectacle in the country. He's already been denied bail, sitting behind bars as prosecutors stack accusations like a Jenga tower that's about to crash. Human trafficking, racketeering, exploitation. The words criminal enterprise are being used more often than his name. But what's got everyone sweating is the testimony. Former employees are breaking NDAs. Assistants are spilling details about freak-offs that sound more like blackmail setups than wild parties. These weren't just about pleasure, they were about leverage. According to leaks, Diddy allegedly filmed everything. That means tapes exist. Tapes that could ruin marriages, careers, and yes, even billion-dollar empires. And you can bet the feds want those tapes. If any of them show ties between Diddy, Jay-Z, and the Vegas hit, it's game over. Forget the music mogul image. Forget the legacy. That's Rico-level collapse. Now let's talk Jay-Z. For years, he's been the golden child, the guy who rose from drug dealer to billionaire, dodging every scandal while others crumbled. But now, his name is popping up in ways he never imagined. Civil lawsuits quietly list him. Insiders whisper about financial transfers that look shady, and some retired investigators are hinting that Jay wasn't just a bystander to the Vegas shooting. He might have been a silent partner, waiting to inherit the throne once Tupac was gone. The whispers are brutal. That wire transfers from Jay's circle connect to names now under investigation. That phone records place him in places that don't match his public alibis. Even worse, people once loyal to him are suddenly not so quiet. Former label executives, retired bodyguards, folks who kept their mouths shut for 30 years are dropping cryptic hints. And every time they do, Jay's name comes up alongside Diddy's.
Of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's bad, bad whitey, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted. And
I sat right here and told y'all there was activity on the darknet. Videos were being distributed and were going to be sold for profit because the diddler needs the money. Did I not say that?
And it's not just legal filings. The public mood is shifting too. Old clips are going viral, like Jay at the Rock Nation brunch, side-eyeing Diddy when he hugged Beyonce a little too long. Fans are revisiting those moments with a new lens, asking, was Jay-Z protecting his family or protecting secrets? Here's the scary part. This isn't stopping with just two men. The subpoenas are spreading. Lawyers, managers, even assistants are lawyering up, deleting accounts, disappearing overseas. The old code of silence in the music industry is cracking, and once it cracks, everyone starts looking for a deal. Already, whispers say a few former insiders are negotiating plea bargains. Think about that. People who once lived like royalty now racing to spill tea before someone else does. And every time one domino falls, more names get dragged in, executives, producers, maybe even artists who benefited from the empire Pac's absence built. The industry feels it. This isn't just another scandal. It's the slow-motion collapse of a dynasty that defined 30 years of culture. And the ghost they tried to erase, Tupac Shakur, might be the one holding the matchbook. So here's where things stop being just about rumors and start looking like a full-blown Hollywood script. Diddy's so-called freak-offs weren't just scandalous parties. They were allegedly weapons. According to insiders, every move, every guest, every moment was filmed. And those tapes, they weren't for nostalgia, they were for leverage. Imagine being one of the biggest stars in the world, walking into what you thought was a party, only to realize later that your darkest, most private moments were captured on camera. That's the kind of dirt that can silence anyone. Former employees are now saying that these tapes were Diddy's insurance policy, blackmail strong enough to keep celebrities, executives, and even rivals from turning against him. And here's the terrifying part. Whispers say Jay-Z himself might have been caught in at least one of those tapes. If true, that explains why his name suddenly feels glued to Diddy's in court documents and why he looks so nervous in public appearances. Because once those tapes land in the hands of federal prosecutors, or worse, the FBI, they're not just tabloid fodder, they're evidence. Imagine being Tupac, watching your rivals amass fortunes, build billion-dollar empires, and shape the culture, all while knowing they may have been the very people who orchestrated your disappearance. Imagine sitting on 30 years of evidence, waiting patiently for the right moment to let it all burn. That's what makes this story so chilling. If Pac really has tapes tying Diddy and Jay-Z to the Vegas shooting, or even to decades of corruption after, it won't just ruin reputations. It will rewrite hip-hop history. Every Grammy, every tribute, every Rock Nation brunch will look like it was built on lies. And the paranoia is already spreading. Assistants are quitting. Industry veterans are deleting accounts. Celebrities who once stood proudly beside Diddy and Jay-Z are suddenly silent. Beyoncé, usually flawless at controlling her image, has stayed quiet while fans flood her socials with questions. Even Jay's closest allies aren't defending him anymore. The silence is deafening. Here's the twist. This might not even be about revenge anymore. For Tupac, if he really is alive, this could be about justice, finally exposing the system that betrayed him. Reports claim federal agents have already reached out to someone in his circle, maybe even Pac himself, to cut a deal. Not to arrest him, but to use him as the ultimate witness. If that happens, then the courtroom drama of September 2025 will look like the warm-up. Because when the feds put Tupac Shakur on the stand, or even play tapes with his voice, his handwriting, his evidence, it won't just shake the music industry, it will shake the entire culture. And the most ironic part? Pac told us this was coming. His Makaveli persona, his cryptic lyrics, even the line, "Expect me like you expect Jesus to come back." Suddenly it doesn't sound like metaphor, it sounds like prophecy. So here we are. 3 decades of rumors, whispers, and conspiracy theories are now colliding with courtroom drama, FBI investigations, and insider leaks. And the scariest part? This isn't just about Diddy or Jay-Z anymore. It's about the entire foundation of modern hip-hop. Think about it. If Tupac really has the receipts, if the tapes, phone records, and money trails prove that his disappearance was orchestrated, then every empire that rose in his absence suddenly looks tainted. The Rock Nation brunches, the billion-dollar liquor deals, the Grammys, the corporate endorsements, all of it starts to feel like it was built on betrayal. That's not just a scandal, that's a cultural earthquake. September 2025 is already shaping up to be the month hip-hop will never forget. Diddy is locked up, facing federal charges that make his glamorous lifestyle look like a smokescreen for something darker. Prosecutors are stacking witnesses, and every week another former insider cuts a deal. It's like watching dominoes fall one by one, all pointing back to the same man. Meanwhile, Jay-Z is fighting his own battles. Lawsuits are circling, insiders are speaking, and his carefully polished image is cracking. Fans are going back through old lyrics, old interviews, and old videos, wondering if the clues were there all along. And every time his name pops up in another court filing, it chips away at the myth of untouchability he's built for 2 decades. And then there's the FBI. quiet, methodical, relentless. They're not leaking everything, but the little we do here is enough to send shockwaves through the industry. Sealed indictments, re-examined evidence, rumors of plea deals. It feels less like an investigation and more like a countdown. So what happens now? Maybe Pac really does step out of the shadows with 30 years of evidence. Maybe he stays silent and lets the feds do the dirty work. Or maybe this is the final twist, where the myth of Tupac becomes the weapon that destroys the most powerful dynasty hip-hop has ever seen. Either way, one thing is clear: the untouchables don't look so untouchable anymore. The culture is holding its breath, the industry is in panic mode, and the ghost of Tupac Shakur is laughing in the shadows. Because if the whispers are true, then this isn't just a comeback. This is a reckoning,